What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of the Combine. I'm the host, Cameron Forcier. I had an absolute banger of a weekend. The Gophers moved to 4-0, and yes, I just jinxed it. The Vikings won, more on that later, and the guy who hacked my Fortnite account finally got enough V-Bucks for me to be able to hit the gritty. So if you see an OG John Wick skin named Ricky Rubio fan hitting the gritty, please say hello. Today's episode is all about the NFL. I'll be joined by Wheeler and Ray Collado. Let's get into it. Combine starts now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
What's up? Like I said, today we're doing NFL. Ray, Grant, talk to the camera, introduce yourself. Debut of the Combine. You guys have been on main show. You guys have been on air before. Grant, you've hosted main show, so this is absolutely not your first rodeo. Introduce yourself. How was your weekend?
It was great. I mean, the Colts finally got a win this weekend. First of all, I want to thank you for having me on the show today. But Indianapolis is hopefully turning their season around. Big win against the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday in their home opener. Matt Ryan actually drove them down the field for that game-winning drive. So definitely optimistic going forward.
Great time to be a Giants fan. We're 2-0 right now. Full disclaimer, this is recorded on Monday, so I don't know how that Cowboys game is going to go. But right now, it's a great time to be 2-0. It's a great feeling to be on the winning side of football for once.
Yeah, it's a rarefied air for the Giants. First time starting 2-0 since 2015. Looking for 3-0 and first time since 2009. We'll get on that later. But first off, so I have been sending Google Forms with pick'em games, choose 5 games a week, sending them to the group chat that we have, and 3 weeks in, I have the results. So first place, I know you're going to say it's rigged. I don't care. I'm in first place. I have 14 points. Thank you very much. Second place is Patrick with 12 points. Third place, Tyler Brownrigg with 10. Tied with third is Austin, the executive producer, with 10 also. And there's a two-way tie for fifth with Dom and Mason at 7 points. So I'll give you periodic updates. Usually when we talk about NFL, I'll even throw some standings graphics on the monitor behind me. But as of right now, that's just quick, easy, to the point. So we're going to start off. We're all wearing our jerseys. We're fans. It's time to get biased. It's time to have some fun. Ray, 2-0, first time since 2015. Like you said, full disclosure. Full disclaimer, this is recorded on Monday. They might lose tonight. They might win tonight. Cooper Rush might take another victim. So if they go 3-0, first time since 2009, if not, a loss is absolutely not uncommon for the Giants. So go, talk.
It feels great to be 2-0, first of all. But when you take a closer look, the teams they've beaten aren't really that good. So I'm going to start with the Titans. At first glance, week 1, it was an amazing victory. But when you look at it, the only dub the Titans have gotten so far are against the Raiders. And the Raiders is like they eat a Popeye's chicken biscuit before every game, how they be choking everything. And then they beat the, I'm blanking on who they beat second.
The game was the Panthers.
The Panthers, yeah, they beat the Panthers. They're second last in offense. And there's a quarterback competition where the correct answer is no. So I'm like, the Giants, yeah, it looks nice, but I want draft picks, and all we're doing is tanking our chances to get picks. Because our ceiling at the very best is the divisional round of the playoffs.
And that's not a bad ceiling.
It's not bad at all.
For the Giants' expectations to be like 6 wins, like the ceiling is not awful.
Yeah, but we want good draft picks.
Yeah.
It's not that good, man.
Saquon Barkley has been exceeding expectations, I guess, if your expectations were he's going to be a bum again. He's fully recovered for the ACL injury. That was 2 years ago. 286 yards through 2 weeks. He's popped up. He surprised a lot of people watching him run. Still explosive. He still has the moves. Probably the best offensive line he's had in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is the truth, but Daniel Jones is a decent game manager. So
yeah, but at the end of the day, keyword game manager.
Yeah.
Game manager ain't going to get you deep into the playoffs. We need a franchise quarterback. I'm looking at the Eagles, and I'm so jealous of them right now. Jalen Hurts, I'm looking outside the window like, Jalen Hurts.
You're hoping for the best. You're hoping. You wish you had that. Keep talking about your Giants, because I know you're happy. You talk to me every day. You're like, man.
Yeah, I know, and I got us beating the Cowboys. If we're going to beat the Cowboys, it's going to have to be a low-scoring game. I got them beating the Cowboys 12-9 on only getting field goals, because from the looks of it, they can't get it into the end zone. So we got to play a low-scoring game against the Cowboys so we have a chance to beat them. And hopefully we don't join the Cooper Rush list on his hit list.
Yeah, the club of people who have lost to Cooper Rush. It started with the Vikings. We are the Trailblazers. When Cooper Rush beat the Bengals, I was so happy. I was like, thank you for it not just being us. Grant, the moment everybody in this studio has been waiting for, you get, like I said earlier, you get the most slandered, the most directed hate for being a Colts fan because it's funny. But
I'm used to it, man. I'm so used to it.
Anything you find wrong with the Colts or anything you want to talk about the Colts, now is your chance. This is a safe space.
Yeah, so the Indianapolis Colts are 1-1-1. Definitely a weird record to start out the year. I mean, I'll take that over last year. Last year they started out 0-3. Every year they start out slow. I don't know what it is. I mean, they get banged up early in their year. Strength and conditioning coaches aren't obviously doing their job. Doesn't help that Shaquille Leonard is still out. I've been waiting for him to come back all season so far. But the defense shouldered the load yesterday. They held the Chiefs to 17 points, a very good Chief offense. They got to Patrick Mahomes. They were getting pressure on him. They picked him off. They forced a fumble on special teams. And that was, at the beginning of the game, that kind of just lifted the momentum for the rest of the game for the Colts. And the Chiefs, I know they were without their kicker yesterday, but, hey, we were without our top linebackers. So, I mean, injuries are a part of the game. Going forward, though, they do play Tennessee at home next week, the Colts, in a big-time division game early in the season. I expect them to win that game and go to 2-1-1. Jonathan Taylor didn't have his most dominant game yesterday, but he was still pretty effective. He still had 71 yards. Again, not his best day, but again, he was going against a good Chief front. But no, the Colts, they're in a good spot right now because yesterday changed the narrative. If they had lost yesterday, it'd be a lot different right now.
Yeah, you pencil in a loss for the Colts week 1. They did not lose.
They didn't lose. That's progress.
Yeah, that's slow but steady. So that means they're going to tie for the next 8 years. It's always you always pencil in a loss in Jacksonville.
And they always lose in Jacksonville.
Always. So you could say no Michael Pittman, and that had something to do.
And no
but
Leonard, yeah.
Yeah, it happens. Jonathan Taylor has been kind of disappointing this year. I don't have any issue saying it. As far as total yardage,
I agree so far. He had
161
yards in week 1, only about 54 yards in week 2, 71 yards last week. But he had a slow start last year, though. You know, last year was his legendary season, and he didn't really start getting going until week 4 or week 5 last year. So I wouldn't be too concerned right now. If you're a fantasy owner of Jonathan Taylor, I know Hannah Joe Groves has him. Don't worry, he's going to go off next week.
But when you play a soft schedule like that, those should be, yes, you do start out slow if you're a running back, especially if you're a bell cow. You do start off kind of slow, but you really should be lighting it up against the Texans and Jaguars. He did light it up against the Texans, but like the Jaguars have looked good. Full credit to Jacksonville.
They are good.
We will get on that later. But you really, if you're Jonathan Taylor, you really should be doing better. I have a question. This is straight from Johnny Jackson himself. You are a big Colts fan, correct?
Correct.
Why can't you get a jersey that fits you?
Well, I do have jerseys, right? Other jerseys, like a Peyton Manning one, Reggie Wayne one. They're like nightgowns, though. But, hey, this Christmas, I will get a white Jonathan Taylor jersey, and it'll be more fitted than this. So,
if anyone would like to see the full fit of Grant Wheeler, watch the draft show from last year.
Oh, yeah.
And he's wearing a youth medium right now. Let's just decide. Please. He showed up in that, and everyone's like, Grant, please, man. Like, what are you wearing? But, hey, he said, I'm going to get one that, I said, I'm going to get a fitted Jonathan Taylor. And I said, Grant, that one's fitted enough.
No, but like looser than this, but, still fitted.
My Minnesota Vikings have won. We're 2-1. I'm keeping all expectations kind of low. But we have beat the Green Bay, which is an automatic win in Minnesota. We got absolutely shelled by the Eagles. That was not fun at all. Luka, if you're watching this, I hate you. But that was not fun. Looking back, I'm glad that we got shelled by them because they are destroying every team in their path except for the Lions. But we beat the Lions. I was very scared. When we went on 24-14, I actually said, I was like, guys, this game's over. And I didn't turn it off, but this game was over. And then somehow, some way, we came back and won. I don't know how. I've never seen it before. We were driving and got in field goal range, and I was like, wow, I already know how this one's going to end. And somehow, some way, we didn't even need to miss the field goal. We just got the touchdown right there. KJ Osborne, you see it. And somehow, like Adam Thielen stepped up, a touchdown. Justin Jefferson was non-existent week 2. Darius Slay locked him down. Darius Slay is an elite cornerback that does not get.
That was Kirk Cousins' worst nightmare in week 2. Darius Slay.
Monday Night Football.
And Monday Night Football, yes. He only has 2 wins and both against the Bears.
Yeah. Darius Slay, to me, is the Mike Evans of cornerbacks, in which he is elite, but he does not get talked about. Mike Evans is elite, but Mike Evans always gets overlooked whenever you mention the upper tier.
I agree. Why does no one talk about Darius Slay? He's been around for a long time, too.
He's been elite. He was elite in Detroit. In Detroit, when they had nobody on their defense, it was Darius Slay. And then he's popping off now, and full credit. So like I said, I got to keep expectations low. New head coach, completely new regime. I like what I'm seeing. I think the team's starting to pick up on cover Justin Jefferson because the Packers clearly didn't. But Irv Smith needs to not drop the ball, like at all. That was you guys see the week 2 Monday Night Football. That was bad. He had it in his hands and he dropped it. So Dalvin Cook dislocated shoulder. Any of you have him in fantasy? Because I know I do.
Oh,
I
don't, thankfully.
I have Alexander Madison, so I'm fine. But that always sucks.
I got Justin Jefferson, though.
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson's been bald. He played like a god week 1.
Oh, week 1 was crazy. He had more points than the entire Packers offense in like the first half.
He outscored my opponent's receivers, both of the receivers combined.
Yeah, he was the move week 1.
He's a freak.
Oh, he's a freak. And then Darius Slay locked him down. Like, I can't be mad that we lost to the Eagles. I want to be, but I can't.
At the end of the day, they're
Eagles are
3-0,
good.
the Eagles.
Exactly. The Eagles are 3-0, so we're gonna pivot to that because that actually was the next topic. The result, the schedule, kind of soft. They started against the Lions. The Lions are good, but they started against the Lions. Week 2, Vikings, Monday Night Football. We're good, but Monday Night Football, the Vikings are not good.
Or Kirk Cousins at least.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins and Monday night is a mistake. Then they shelled the Commanders. They sacked Carson Wentz 9 times. Johnny, I'm so sorry you had to sit through and watch that.
That makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, you're anti-Carson Wentz.
Well, I mean, he's the reason why we missed the playoffs last year. So
what do you think about the Eagles' schedule and how do you think it is? I mean, Jalen Hurts looks great. Like you said, you're looking out the window, hoping for Jalen Hurts. But do you think it's soft schedule, or do you think it truly is them being that good?
I think it's soft schedule. Yes, they're probably one of the best, and they're probably the best NFC East team right now. But that's not saying much when you're looking at the rest of the division. And plus, first the Commanders. That's anybody and their grandmother can beat the Commanders, especially the way they did. And the Detroit Lions, like you said, yeah, they're good, but that's where careers go to die. We saw what they did to Jared Goff. I mean, what they're doing to Jared Goff, and what they did to Matthew Stafford for years. The second he leaves, he wins a Super Bowl. And Megatron wasted his career there. I'm sorry, he's one of the best receivers of all time. They did him dirty keeping him in that team.
Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Swift looks like they're turning a corner. Dan Campbell's been great.
I love Dan Campbell's energy.
You have to, because I'm as an NFC North fan, I can't hate the Lions. They've just been so bad. I don't know if you guys feel any way about your teams and any in your division. I feel like
I can't stand either of my teams.
You can't say any of the other 3 teams? Well, I guess the Jaguars always beat you. Like, I would feel bad
Only in Jacksonville.
I would feel bad for the Jaguars if they didn't beat me every year.
In Indianapolis, different story. That's why I always split with them.
Yeah, that's what division is for. Even the worst team, the worst team in the division will always take a game off you, somehow, some way.
It's just the NFL. You just never know any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday.
It's very hard to win this league.
It's
not easy.
The Miami Dolphins. I hate this. Cole is over on my left, shaking his head, nodding his head. He is pumping his fist. I hate this. But the Miami Dolphins are 3-0. Week 1 against the Patriots, weak Patriots team. You can say it. Defense
still a division rival though.
Yeah, but the Dolphins. We will cover the Dolphins defense a little bit. They are legit. Week 2, the comeback against the Ravens. That was
monumental.
That was crazy.
28-3 in the fourth quarter.
Tua's never gonna have a game like that again. That's fine, because as long as you have one of those games, you're gonna get another contract somewhere. And then they hold the Bills to 19 points. The Dolphins' offense is not that good. Their defense scares me, because we play the Dolphins week 6, and their defense scares me because they are that good. Javon Holland, even Melvin Ingram, they've been tearing it up. They get pressure, and I think it's time to. They've been elite, but I think it's time to realize that if they can hold the Bills to 19 points,
they can play with anyone. If they can compete with the Buffalo Bills, they can compete with anybody in the league. Because the Buffalo Bills were my preseason Super Bowl pick. So.
Yeah, and their defense is, like you said, is amazing right now. Yeah, Lamar dropped 38 points on them in total, was it? But they held them to 10 points in the second half. So that's still an amazing. They found something in at halftime to figure out how to beat them. But still, their defense is amazing. The Bills holding them to 19 points. Yes, the Bills, if they hadn't missed that field goal, they would have won, though, because the Bills were amazing. I'm not the Bills in specifically, but Josh Allen balled out with 400 yards, bro. But that being said, the missed field goals will really cost them.
Yeah, the missed field goals are bad. Tua, I don't know if anybody watching this saw Tua get hit. It was a clean hit, knock his head back, and then stumble and fall to the ground. I don't know how he passed concussion protocol. That was scary to see. I've had a concussion before. It looked nothing like that, so I cannot imagine what was going through his head. If anything, he probably woke up and was like, man, I'm ready to play against Georgia next week.
Well, the league is actually doing an investigation on how the Dolphins handled his concussion protocol.
Yeah, that was his body, because the first play he came back, he literally threw a pick six.
Yeah.
It's that I don't know how anybody who watching it was like, hey, that's rough. The NFLPA is on that, and they should be, because you have, obviously if you're a quarterback, you're gonna have CTE, but like that's like bad. Like you could say a hit derailed Antonio Brown's career, and a hit like that where you get up and wobble, like you're not thinking straight.
Oh no, if you get knocked down like that, I don't think you come back for the rest of the game. Like he should not have come back for the rest of the game.
They gave him some painkillers, they shot him up something, and they're like, all right, you're good.
Good to go.
Get back up.
They asked him to spell his last name. He said he didn't know how, and they said, perfect, neither do we. And they sent him back out there. We are going to shift to a new segment. Not even a new segment, just going to get hot takes. Straight hot takes. Are the Jaguars winning the AFC South?
No, they're not winning the AFC South. It's so early right now. It's week 3. They are better than they were last year. They're going to improve. They may win like 7 or 8 games. But as the season goes on, you have to expect the Colts and the Titans to get some steam going here.
If I'm looking as of right now, they are the best team right there in their division. I'm sorry, Grant. 1-1-1 just looks like an ugly record. The Titans are really underperforming, and like I said earlier, the only team they've beaten are the Raiders, and the Raiders are giving away games at this point. So I got my boy Trevor Lawrence coming out of his division.
I mean, Jacksonville, they beat Indy, but they always do that in Jacksonville. And they beat a banged-up Chargers team. So I haven't really seen much so far. They're doing good. They're 2-1, but long way to go, Ray. Yeah. Long way to go.
Looking like Urban Myers was the biggest problem. Like, I've never seen a bigger red flag than signing Tim Tebow as a tight end as your first move.
That's what he wanted to do. That's what people wanted him to do. And then he's like, no, I'm playing quarterback. And then when he went to the Jets and Patriots, they're like, hey, you're going to play tight end. And then he played for the Mets, which is the worst possible punishment. Next hot take, we got the Raiders finishing last in the AFC West. Yay or nay?
That's not a hot take.
That's not a hot take.
They're
finishing last.
That was my prediction going into the season. I'm like, I said, well, they could be like an 8-9, 9-8 last place team, but they could be worse than that. It could be like 7-10, 6-11 the way they're starting out this year. But yeah, they're 0-3. I mean, they're cemented into the basement right now, into the AFC West.
At this point, it's like they're trying to win, because it's not like they were out of the games. They've had leads, and they, like, for the example of Dolphins, they had the Dolphins down and they gave up. It's like they gave away that game. It's like they're trying to lose.
The Raiders had a 20-point lead on the Cardinals. Yeah.
The Broncos are a mess, but they're winning. Somehow, some way, they're finding the ugliest way possible to win. Last night was disgusting. Last night was a crime. Last night reminded me that we need the forward pass.
It's one of the ugliest games I ever witnessed in NFL history last night.
Last night was like watching Iowa, Rutgers. Last night was Big Ten West football.
It was 10-5 in the fourth quarter. It's a baseball score.
Who scored? How do you get 5 points?
It was the Giants versus the Rockies that night. So you think the Broncos, as miserable as they're doing right now, and as miserable offenses, you think they can still hold off the Raiders for the basement?
Yes, but they'll finish in 3rd place in the division. Unless the Chargers, if they can't get healthy, then they could surpass L.A., the Broncos. But they won't surpass Kansas City.
Yeah, they're going to beat up. It's going to be easy. They're going to beat the Raiders for the basement, because if I have to it's coming down to quarterbacks, Russell Wilson or the boy Derek Carr. I'm choosing Russell Wilson 10 times out of 10.
10 times? Oh yeah, that's fair. And this stuff. Yeah, no, that's.
They don't belong in the same sentence.
They don't. Russell Wilson's a Super Bowl champion.
He's been really, he got carried by the defense. It's time to acknowledge that Russell Wilson got carried by the defense. I'm sick and tired of this. I like Russell Wilson. I don't have an issue with him, but it's time to acknowledge that he got carried by one of the best secondaries in the last 30 years.
Legion of Boom.
Yeah,
and a great running game. Marshawn Lynch.
They had their own Madden cover. Like, it's time to be like, hey, yeah, like he's
also carried by beast mode too.
Yeah. But put Derek Carr on that team. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Those teams, no, probably not. Because Russ was magic. Mm-hmm. Russ was cooking back then, and then now Russ is
Broncos country.
Russ works at the chum bucket right now. So last hot take, we have the Lions making the playoffs. And if you want to get spicy, the Lions winning the NFC North. Lions making the playoffs, yes or no?
No, they're still like a year or two away. They're still very young. Dan Campbell, I love him. He's a player's coach. He's got a lot of energy, but they'll improve. They'll win like maybe 8 games, 7 games this year, but they're just not there yet in terms of competing in the playoffs.
Yeah, at the very, very most, and the stars have to align. They make a wild card, but I don't see them making the playoffs. I'm not betting any type of money on them making the playoffs at all.
If there's three wild card spots, is it fair to give one wild card spot to the non-Vikings or Packers NFC North team? Yes or no? Because we're just trying to. So you think? Because if there's 3 wildcard spots, what division do you think has 2 teams, and what division is kicking out the Lions?
The NFC West can get 2 teams.
2?
Cardinals and 49ers.
Okay, so that's one wildcard. What's one wildcard spot taken? NFC North, Packers, Vikings. I think one of those teams makes it. I'm obviously biased. I don't want the Packers to win any games, but Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, so they're gonna make the playoffs. So that leaves one wildcard spot.
Vikings. I can see the Vikings.
I can see the Packers and Vikings both making it.
Vikings are winning the division. I'm ready. I'm starting a narrative.
I can see that this year.
You're gonna end up on a commercial like that.
If the Vikings do not make the playoffs, put me on bad takes, because if the Vikings don't make the playoffs, I won't be around for that commercial to air. So,
hey, future commercial.
Yeah. Hey. So third team, you don't see the Lions making that their wildcard spot? Who? Second place in the NFC East, second place in the NFC South. Who's
NFC East? See, obviously the easy pick right now for the NFC East.
The Eagles.
The Eagles, and second place would be maybe the Cowboys.
Well, the East could get the Eagles and the Giants.
The Cowboys. Don't get Ray started. He'll be very happy.
What did you say?
He said the Giants.
Eagles and the Giants. So Giants could be a wild card team.
Yeah, I would love them to make the playoffs, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to build for the future. And with Daniel Jones, our ceiling is the divisional round, like I said, and we need a new quarterback. Yes, Danny Dimes, love the brand, but he's not the quarterback.
I disagree. I think Danny Dimes is good for you guys because he had to deal with the burden of having a different head coach every year. I mean, he had Joe Judge for 2 years. He had Pat Shurmur. There was no stability at the head coach position. So now that he has Brian Daboll, who has brought in a unique culture, I think he's going to go a long way in Daniel Jones' success. He's
definitely on the hot seat this season. He needs to perform this season.
He's the hot seat because they're going to have picks, and it's a quarterback-heavy draft. That is all the time that we have. We're going to do some commercials. We're going to pay some bills. Thank you guys for tolerating me for 20-plus minutes. It's been an honor. Let's head to commercial.
I'm going with Cowboys versus Giants. Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan, and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL is gonna make it happen.
Welcome back once again. Thank you guys, Grant and Ray, for doing this and letting me know. With these final minutes, I'm going to try something new called In Case You Missed It, where I'll go through quick headlines of sports news that, well, you may have missed it, whether it be something that you don't follow or anything like that. Arizona State head coach Herm Edwards was fired this week after a loss to Eastern Michigan. His record at ASU was 26-20, but now there are rumors circulating that members of his staff were giving information to other teams. One coach told The Athletic that it, quote-unquote, was not hard to get intel on this season's team because Arizona State Athletics wanted a coaching change. That's crazy. In soccer, PSG and French national star Kylian Mbappe refused to attend a photo shoot for the France national team after voicing displeasure with the team sponsors. Mbappe said that he felt uncomfortable being a face representing betting and fast food companies. KFC is threatening legal action. That's crazy. That's worse. A cheating scandal in chess has become the topic of discussion after the #1 ranked player in the world lost in a tournament and accused his opponent of cheating. Y'all might have heard about this. His opponent, Hans Niemann, was half-jokingly accused of utilizing nature's back pocket to cheat, and that's all I'm saying about that. Nathan McKinnon became the highest player in the NHL by signing an 8-year, $100.8 million contract this past week. Personally, I'm sure it won't last very long because Austin Matthews, Draisaitl, and Connor McJesus are all going to be up for extension soon. But it's nice to see him do that because he did kind of lead the Avalanche to the Stanley Cup. Also in NHL, PK Subban, an absolute pioneer in the game, announced his retirement, 13-year career, Norris Trophy winner. As far as I'm not doing the research on this, I didn't bother, but I'm 99% sure he's the first black NHL player to be on the cover of NHL 19. He was on NHL 19. I'm willing to bet that. I'm not looking that up. Also news, Robert Sarver, as I'm sure you guys heard, is being forced to sell the Suns and Mercury. I'm not diving into that, but he was very likely not going to sell, and then PayPal, who is the sponsor on the Suns jersey, was like, hey, we're going to play your sponsorship unless you sell. Money talks, he sold. That's the same reason why Dan Snyder changed the name so begrudgingly from the Redskins to the football team to the Commanders. Sponsorships were like, hey, change the name or we're out. On that note, that's all the time we have for today. I'll be in the same spot next week for a preview on the looming NHL season. Peace.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats.